मुश्किल को समझने का तरीका निकल आता, मुश्किल को समझने का तरीका निकल आता, तुम बात तो करते, कोई रास्ता निकल आता. I think if you've been watching these episodes by now, you're used to this sher by Ambar Kharbanda Saab. So, ladies and gentlemen, the elections have just ended, and I don't think it's a secret that I do not particularly like the kind of politics and hate Mr. Modi stands for. Despite BJP's seats coming down and most of my circle feeling optimistic, I don't know, I have a sense of cynicism and foreboding about our leaders and the future of India's politics, and some hope that I'd like to table today. Honestly, it's not just about Mr. Modi. Also the fact that his speeches he's really lowered the bar of basic human decency as far as political leaders go. I don't think I'd like to use him as a role model for our children. At the same time, it's also about when I look at people in the opposition and their reactions, and I look at them and say, okay, so who does one choose from if one was to look at the generally available leaders in India? If at all, elections this time told us what, and they usually tell us, what power can do to decent, ordinary people. If you get a chance, read Brian Klaas's Corruptible, where he explores what power can do to people and the influence of power on human behavior. I think some of the questions he raises are, do the worst people amongst us inevitably end up getting power? Or do our systems corrupt those who eventually attain power? We do have rare examples of people who maintain their integrity despite having power, but they are few and far in between. Why do we as citizens allow and proactively select bad leadership to control and govern us? What satisfaction do we derive from letting them get away with their lack of integrity and general wickedness? Maybe it's not power that corrupts people. Maybe power attracts corrupt individuals. Maybe those who seek power for its own sake might be the least suited for it. Eventually, how do we ensure that incorruptible, authentic and decent people gain power, and how do we hold them accountable so they do not fall into the power trap? Sorry if it's too much to take at one go. Incidentally, my day job and the reason I bring these things up for discussion, the Jai Hind Project, focuses on researching true everyday heroism and inspiring people to be more heroic. We use this quote by Matt Langdon as our motto: the opposite of a hero is not a villain, it's a bystander. Hero ka ulta villain nahi hota, hero ka ulta hota hai tamashbeen. And this is in turn inspired by Professor Philip Zimbardo's work at Stanford University, particularly his famous or maybe infamous experiment where students assigned as guards abused their power over students who were acting as prisoners. The experiment showed that social roles could transform behavior, with guards becoming abusive and prisoners becoming submissive. And Zimbardo's experiment raises certain critical questions. Do we all have a tendency towards cruelty when given power? Or does power only amplify this tendency? Beyond the experiment, there are also other questions. What if power attracts those already predisposed to cruelty? What accountability measures should we build around powerful people, hence, knowing that power can corrupt or attract the wrong individuals? So what systems should we make? And what role can we play as citizens to keep our leaders accountable? What if we, as people, all of us, are also drawn to the wrong kind of leaders? What if we are drawn to the wrong kind of leaders? Do we see aggressive, rude, and harsh leaders as more dependable and strong, even when we know that they are evil, like we've seen recently? Honestly, I'm glad in a way that the recent elections have created more awareness of politics in India. I see so many young people now interested in their leaders, asking questions and seeking answers. This renewed interest could be the push and the kick in the butt, if we may, that we all needed. And coming back to what gives me hope is that things are changing. People are noticing and questioning when things go wrong. Despite media bias, as we've all seen, this election saw some really brave individuals standing up for what they believed in, calling out wrongs despite personal risks. This, to me, is the most refreshing change in India in recent decades. If you have started taking an interest in how India is run, you are part of that change, and I congratulate you. While we may never have a perfect system, democracy survives when leaders know they are being watched and held accountable. So, where do we start? I think a great place may be that we first understand how India is run, how the government works, and the rights and duties of a good citizen. Simple things. Despite the complexity of running India, understanding governance in its rudimentary form is, I think, crucial for all of us. All children should learn it. And we do want this repeated time and again so we don't forget. And of course, keep talking in respectful ways and engage in conversations, even if we do not agree. These are conversations, not debates, and we do not have to put anyone down or prove anyone. We just have to stick to our truth, say what we want, and listen carefully when people reply. तो मुश्किल को समझने का तरीका निकल आता, तुम बात तो करते कोई रास्ता निकल आता, और क्यों प्यास की शिद्दत को बढ़ाया नहीं तुमने, क्यों प्यास की शिद्दत को बढ़ाया नहीं तुमने, दरिया भी अगर मांगते दरिया निकल आता, मुश्किल को समझने का तरीका निकल आता. The conversation has just started. I do not have a regular slot or commitment to this program on the wire. So whenever I think I have something to say and time to listen, I request that this be shared. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate the many comments that people take the time to make, and I will continue to reply to them when I can. I'm also not in a hurry. Changes, large changes, take time. Sometimes lifetimes are needed. And I do know that we have some basic choices to make as decent people. We can look at wrongs happening and stay away from them and just watch, or we can take the risks needed and think beyond ourselves. And when a large number of people start to be everyday heroes and be respectful, societies change. We all have a voice and we can participate in building a much better India. Like Ambar Saab says, क्यों प्यास की शिद्दत को बढ़ाया नहीं तुमने, दरिया भी अगर मांगते दरिया निकल आता. So much sunshine and laughter to you, दोस्तों. Till I have something else to share. Jai Hind.
द वायर के और वीडियोस देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन पर क्लिक करें. स्वतंत्र पत्रकारिता की आर्थिक मदद करने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक पर जाएं और अपनी राशि चुनें.